Hey there, grade sevens. Today we are going to be starting chapter 7. This is our last chapter of the year, and this chapter is on data analysis. So some of those things that you saw when we were doing the mathletics um, uh, uh, general assessments, is there some words that you didn't know? So we're talking about mean and mode, and those are the two that we're going to talk about today. So in this example, let's say that we have a set of data. So what I did is I actually rolled the dice 10 times, and these are what came up. All right. So when we're talking about mean and mode, okay, um, what's actually going on? Okay. Well, mean is another word for average. Okay. So when I calculate the average of something, what I need to do is I actually need to add all of them up. So I need to find the sum of every single piece of data. So I go 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 6. Okay, if I add it up, I get 10, 17, 20, 23, 26, 28, 29, 30. So I get 30 is my total. Okay, and then I see how many times I actually did the experiment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I divide that by the total number of experiments. So my total result by my experiment. That's going to give me my mean or my average. So 30 divided by 10 is 3. So when I roll, the average score that I get when I roll the dice is 3. Okay. When I'm talking about mode, this is the most, oops, occurring. Okay. So this is the one that happens the most often. All right. So this changes things up a little bit. Now, what if when I'm looking at it is I'm actually saying which one happened the most frequently? Okay. Well, I have 1 twice. I have 2 once. I have 3 4 times. I have 4 twice, and I have 6 once. So my mode would be 3. In this case, it happens to be the same as my average. Okay. So these are kind of the two things. So let's do a new set of data. Okay, let's talk about. Let's say we have, for example, we're talking about test results because we just had our unit test for chapter 8. Let's say one student got 50%, one student got 100%. There was a student that got 75. There was another student that got 75. So let's just talk about these 4 results. Okay. Actually, let's change it up a little bit. Let's go like this. So let's say 2 students got 50% and 2 students got 100%. Okay. So the first thing I want to figure out is what is my mean? Okay, my average. Okay, I'm going to add them all together. So I have 50, 100, plus 100 is 200, plus another is 300. So I have 300 divided by 4. Okay? 300 divided by 4 is going to give me 75%. Okay? Now, my mode, well, what do I do here? Because I have 2 here and I have 2 here. I'm actually going to have 2 modes. So my modes are going to be 50 and 100. So you can have multiple modes. Okay, you can usually you only will ever have one mean, but you can have multiple modes. So whichever one is occurring the most. Now, what if one other student came in and they got 100% on the score? How is that going to change my data? Well, let's take a look. So now when I calculate my mean, I have 50, 100, 200, 300, 400. 400, and that's dividing by, 5 people. Now, my mode, before I guess I'll answer this first. So 400 divided by 5 gives me 80% as my average. So that average for that test would have been 80%. If I'm talking about my mode, which one happened the most often? Well, I have 2 times that 50 came up, and I have 3 times that 100 came up. So my mode is going to be 100% in this situation. okay? My average is 80, my mode is 100. Now, one thing that you might ask yourself is which represents the data more accurately? Saying that most of the kids got 100% in the class, well, that would make the kids that got 50% feel really, really bad. Um, or you're saying the average, the class average is 80%. Well, you'd say these kids, oh, well, I'm above the class average. And then these kids, well, I'm below the class average, but like it's not as far away as 100. So they might feel a little bit better about themselves hearing that the average is lower than the mode. Okay. So we'll come up with one more set of data, and then I'll explain how I try to remember these things. So let's say that we did an experiment, and let's say that we had linking blocks. So you're grabbing linking blocks out of a box. So you've got some of these blocks. So let's say 4 that are red. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that are green. Here we have 4. Here we have 9. And then let's say, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 6 that are blue. Actually, this won't really work out for me. Let's change this to 8. All right, that'll work better. Okay, so we have 8 that are green, red has 4, and blue has 6. So you can immediately figure out what the mode is, okay? Which one do you have the most of? Well, the mode is green, okay? What's our average? Well, let's try to figure out what we can do. What if we were to take some of the blue blocks here, or the green blocks, and add them to the red blocks pile? Okay, it doesn't mean that they have to match up. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the same number of blocks in each pile. I'm just going to redraw this so that it looks similar. Okay, so if these ones were red, and now these ones are green, and I moved them from here, we actually now have 6 in each row. Okay, so I evened them out. So these are all blue, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are green. Okay, so my mean, excuse me, my mean is 6 blocks. Okay, so that's my average. Okay, so one way that I try to remember is mode is the most commonly occurring. Most and mode both start with MO. Okay. There's a third one that we're going to get into, and median means middle. Okay, but that's going to be for next class. But mean is the average. Okay, mean is the average. I always mean just was the last one that I used to try to remember myself. That I didn't really have a trick for, but most and mode, those always connected for me. So that was my way of trying to remember what mode actually meant. When I get to median, I just remembered median is the middle number, and it had to have, they both had D in it. So that's how I tried to remember median and middle, and then mode and most. So that's kind of an explanation of what's going on. With today, we're just talking about mode and mean. So average and most commonly occurring. It's pretty easy to figure out which one is the most commonly occurring. It's just the one that happens the most. The average is you take the sum of them all and divide it by the total number of outcomes. If you have any questions, bring those questions to our Zoom chat. If you don't have questions, just make sure that you do that Google form, and the math makes sense. And good luck.